Facing increasingly dire climate change projections, many companies are under pressure to dramatically reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. To meet the common target of carbon neutrality by 2050 or earlier, some organizations have started to use carbon offsets, where a company doesn't immediately reduce its own emissions, but instead finances other companies to reduce their emissions. Carbon offsets are controversial. Some see offsets as a viable short-term solution until the world can fully transition to a non-fossil carbon economy, but others call it a dangerous distraction that allows companies to avoid fundamental changes they must make immediately. There are four main types of offset projects. The most common type are forestry projects, where a new forest is planted on previously deforested land, or an existing forest is protected from being cut down. A second project builds or maintains new power plants that produce solar or wind energy in locations where a fossil carbon power plant had been planned for construction. A third are waste-to-energy projects that can capture methane and convert it into electricity. Finally, there are projects typically located in economically disadvantaged areas that promote the use of non-fossil fuel-based technologies. However, critics warn that companies that purchase carbon offsets are in fact primarily engaging in a marketing exercise and should be focusing instead on reducing their emissions, not spending money on projects of dubious impact. Greenpeace has likened carbon offsets to PR plans that are intended to make fossil fuel use and the associated emissions more palatable to consumers. Critics also argue that they allow the wealthy to pay their way out of the climate problem without altering their practices, leaving those in developing countries, where most offsetting projects occur, to deal directly with the difficult task of enacting change. In addition, without a governmental regulator, the market is left to sort out its own verification processes, which can lead to uncertainty and deception. To reduce or reverse accumulation of greenhouse gas in the atmosphere, companies must either reduce or eliminate emissions of fossil carbon, or remove carbon from the atmosphere and store it permanently in the ground. Though most companies who promised to bury carbon did not accomplish this goal, more business leaders and investors have started investing in startups that actually did. In early 2022, investors committed more than $2 billion in just 2 months to support carbon sequestration technology, making it the fastest growing area in climate finance. The future of carbon reduction technology and efforts still remains a large looming question mark, but as leaders look to the future, use of carbon offsets may prove as deleterious as the carbon emissions they're intended to curb. To learn more, please read Cancel Culture: Corporations Flock to Carbon Offsets to Solve Their Climate Problem, But Do Offsets Truly Reduce Emissions by Andrew Isaacs and Natàlia Costa y Coromina in the Berkeley House Case series.